Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to introduce you to Mayra Navrati. Mayra, a good friend of mine, stays in Copenhagen, Denmark. Very different journey. Started as a civil engineer. I think she hails from El Salvador. She will talk about, and she has been a civil engineer almost 60% of her career, maybe which I know 70%. She has also been working with embassies on various assignments, and then later on, to everybody's surprise, graduating from her own photography, now she is having her own fashion house. I think it's called as Imarit. Maybe you can pronounce it better. So Mayra, basically, as I said, has been an entrepreneur by habit because she always preferred trotting around the globe with her husband, who was in my business like infrastructure, as I know, but then doing a lot many things of her own. It will be great privilege for us to talk to her. Mayra, welcome.
Thank
Just to tell
you.
you that we, CIA-GLOCAL Venture LLP, we are basically a management consulting firm. We work largely with banks. This idea basically came with that why not to have women of substance. So in this day of approaching International Women's Day, and I thought of you that you have such a glittering career and then switching the lines effortlessly, and from working to entrepreneur, the journey was great. So here is Mayra for all of us. A big round of applause for her career. So Mayra, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel already welcome. I know that if I will be there, I'll be greeted by flowers and candles, and it's amazing. That memory definitely gets to me so nicely. Thank you for considering me with this idea of women of substance. Definitely, we think that it is important to tell through our stories the message that anyone can do it. Even we will never feel like successful because there is always a big, big amount of work to be done
Correct.
still
Correct.
because there are still many challenges which normally we don't like to see them as barriers, but they make uh, the path much more difficult than it should be.
Correct.
But we all have that's something that I consider to be equal between us, men and women, that we both face challenges. And what we want in depth is to ease the challenges of women to have equal opportunities at the very end.
Very well said, Mara. I think that's a great opening by you, in fact, because you already summarized the entire message very nicely. But I think, it will be good that if you talk a bit about your journey, the way you started and, effortlessly, as I said, you moved from place to place and career to career. Very brief, but important events which you can share with our viewers will be great.
Okay, you'll be scared if I start with my childhood, but I have to mention something. I grew up among boys. I was raised doing hunting, fishing, and a lot of the activities that at that time and in my society were exclusively of boys. I learned to drive whole wheel cars and things that took me where I am now because that's the foundation of being risk adverse, and that's something that most of the time as women we are taught and we are always asked to take care of risk. So don't go there, it's too dangerous, don't do this, that's this, or whatever.
It's common
And said
everywhere.
that this it's a very a special thing because when I said to my father that I wanted to study civil engineering, he opened his eyes and said, "That's not a career for women." I was shocked. Dad and I, we had always had a fantastic relationship, very open. We could talk and etc. But at this point, I felt like a big curtain fell between us. Fact is that it was very unfortunate that we really didn't talk about this, because on my side, I was thinking, my father doesn't believe in me, that I'm able to step into this world, that I'll be able to perform as a civil engineer, because most of the time it's men who do that. But it wasn't like that. The fact is, through time, what I learned is that he was not meaning that I was not able to do it. He was meaning that the society, the environment that I will have to work in was not ready to take women.
Exactly. Agreed.
And the first, when I started looking for a job in the area that I wanted, that it's construction, that it's directly in the job side, being the project manager or coordinating, the project side, I was not finding that opportunity. I had lots of interviews with good grades. The university introduced me to several companies, and still they were like, what are we going to do with you? And so that is a big challenge, and I ultimately took it to say, okay, then I will start my own company, and I will do what I want to do, and I know that I'm good at. And then I started getting customers, and slowly, because it wasn't a very easy path. I remember being called an architect almost in all my professional circles. And I was like saying, well, I'm flattered because I do admire a lot of architects, but I'm just a civil engineer. I'm the guy who is going to take care from the foundation until the very end of the building, which maybe is the dream of the architect. And that was my career in terms of the beginning. Then later on, I have worked with artisans. I learned photography, and ultimately, all these experiences are so linked to the process of becoming a professional from the university, because most important thing for me here was to learn that skills, knowledge are so important for the foundation of any initiative that you have, and that we can change.
Just before that, I would like to share with my viewers that Mayra was my colleague.
No,
I think
you were my boss. You were my
the boss
boss.
is very,
You
very
were my
different.
colleague.
It was like you were my colleague and one of the best in her area of work in engineering. What she was saying, that she is fought and started with. She was very thorough in her approach to the project, the planning, the policies, what company should have, and how the team should be done. So and then this probably was the background somewhere, that where she could found her own fashion house, totally different business. And I think now she's talking about that. So I thought I will intervene before she starts about her passion. So this was the area. This is how we know Mayra. And Mayra, for those 2 years, I know that I was depending a lot on a lot of activities in our own company, our companies in joint venture, and she was the bridge. Yeah, Mayra.
You have mentioned something very funny that I recognize wherever I've been working. It's to become the bridge, which is my favorite structure, by the way, because it's connection. Instead of holding, being the building where
Yeah,
everybody gets.
putting you as a pillar doesn't make sense. To a bridge better sense.
Yes, exactly. I just like that structure. But well, yes, that knowledge and everything, all that foundation is so important. Like being part of, in my country, of the initiative for all the organizations that were going to rule about safety in the construction industry. That was big step for my country, and it was interesting because I was the only woman there, and many times they were accusing me of seeing things like a mother, or you're overprotected, and you are doing. And I was like, it doesn't matter. You just don't want to accept
Yeah, in
that
fact,
competitiveness.
yeah, in
Sorry.
fact, the one of the best safety manager in the world is the mother. It's always.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I said. I don't mind to be called, that I will have the tag. I have earned it, as a matter of fact, with 3 kids already that were at that time beginning to be teenagers. So there is a lot of challenge into that, and to deal with those things, it was very important. At my
correct.
university, I was called a witch because I was the head of the testing materials, and the lab was considered to be the witchcraft kind of thing where we were testing materials, developing techniques, and so on. And it's an incredible luggage of opportunities. And I like when somebody mentioned to me that entrepreneurs travel with two bags. One is the experience and all the things that they have been learning, the skills, the abilities, experiences, etc. But the other bag is failure, because it's so important to recognize failure wherever we go.
Yeah, it
And
lies. Yeah, very difficult
I
to
have to
fail.
say that it
Yeah,
was so difficult for me to deal with some failure. So yes, failures take us to the next level,
correct.
definitely. And being in a position where seeing that in Scandinavia is so
Hmm,
cold that we need a fashion that it is able to be kind with the environment, not to
correct.
keep using so much plastic. And I knew that the solution was in the Andes, in the region of Peru, Argentina, Chile, where the alpacas are, which is an animal that produces a fantastic fiber, so soft as cashmere, with this high performance. So that I said, well, I know artisans, I know this product, and I know that in this market we need a solution for the cold weather. I understand the
Hmm.
aesthetics of Scandinavia, so let's create a solution for this. And that's how Imarit was born.
Good. So, Imarit, basically, when you put this name, what was in your mind? I mean, how that name came from?
It's back to my origins, and the word means origin.
Ah,
It's also a word that is used for corn, because the corn is an essential part of the Mesoamerican culture.
hmm,
And even our tradition is that, and we believe that men, women, humanity was created from corn, that the goddess of nature took uh, corn and created these humans out of corn.
so just we will again go back to a bit of process. Like in this entire journey of yours, like you have seen various part of the world. Do you still feel that when you started with as an engineer, maybe you were the only engineer in your part of the world, but when you moved to other places, do you feel that time has changed not only in engineering but other fields also, and then women are coming up more in terms of equality, or there is still a differentiation, maybe in Scandinavian countries or irrespective of countries? Generally, have you observed that, or?
Yes, there are differences. You know what? It might be a challenge for some women in Latin America. It is not for the ones in Scandinavia. It is not the one for the ones in the United States or in India.
Hmm.
Challenges are totally different, and the status of things is so very different. And that's why I mentioned that between India and El Salvador, I felt, or Latin America in general, I felt that we were having a lot of similarities, that it was about overcoming the resistance of the society to see women in more of this. I would not say just the technical careers, but careers that tradition has it that were men. doing it. But slowly, this has been changing. And now sometimes, like for instance, in Scandinavia, I'm wondering why is it that not many women are taking engineering? You know, I was expecting when being there to see 50-50 of women engineers and or in universities as men. Opportunity is there, but it seems like it was a little bit like my father said, this is not a career for women, but not because then you're not able to, but it's what it is next. Will a career in engineering will allow you to take the maternity breaks or grow as you think you want, as also as a female leader, a female engineer. It's very obscure still in terms of there is not much information about it. I'm so a good friend of a professor of a university that she has taken so seriously the issue of inviting women into IT and telling them how they can develop their careers, how they can grow into their IT career. Because it's also, that's another area where normally not many women are. And it's interesting because women have a very good notion of organizing, and IT is a lot of that, you know, to have the architecture of the programming and etc. But anyway, this encouragement about what it is next in life, it is important. I'm have always been wondering about role models because it doesn't have to be just because of gender. You know, just to tell other women, this woman made it. She is an astronaut now. That opens up the possibilities for women. I don't know. I don't feel it right there. I think that if a man is an astronaut, I can be an astronaut.
Equally important. I agree with you.
Yes. So it's inspirational in terms of what it is, your inclination in life, what your skills, what's your desire, what you dream about. But if there is no woman that has made it, why not you become the first one to do it?
Incidentally, when you're talking about in my office, the subject of Women's Day and all, so, few of my colleagues, we have more women and less men in the team. So they said, sir, there is an International Men's Day also. This time, next time when it comes, we will do the same thing with the men. So you will also feel privileged. I said, yeah, that's great.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. I know that that feeling. And actually, in terms of when I think of equality, I have to think also of what it is that men will like to. Like for instance, in fashion, I had to study fashion design, and then I was finding that most of the students were women. And there was only one guy that resigned during the studies later.
mm,
But it was so uncomfortable for me that when the professors were addressing us, for instance, they were like referring to women all the time.
mm,
Good morning, ladies. And I was like, hey, there is a guy there. You know, it was exactly the position that I had at university when professors were entering and they were referring to all of us as boys, men, or and I was there. Hey, I'm here. You know, it's quality has its traits, and it is important to address them best way possible. I would not say that it has to be correctly because it's very fragile where this correctness is. But it is important to take it into consideration that both need those spaces.
correct. And this idea of your fashion business of yours, you know, by choice or by design, You know, I see when I was just going through your profiles, I realized that you have a very core team of artisans who I think belong to, I think, Peru or somewhere.
Yes.
And I was so amazed to see those, ladies were smiling and enjoying their work. And then, so are they your like core strength within the your design or something when on the ground, what you do with them?
Yes. The artisans are the purpose of this initiative. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just fashion for fashion doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the kind of person that will say, I'm so interested in fashion that I want to create fashion that is like, no. I want to empower women that are in remote areas, that have no access to work, and that have fabulous skills. That's my purpose.
Great, because I've seen somewhere that you have said that fashion with sustainability. I think something somewhere there is a catchword which is very important, because one is sustainable in terms of environment, second is sustainable in terms of finances. So I believe in both, because if
Well,
yeah,
mhm.
if
Sorry,
people
no,
in
go
the
ahead.
remote areas, if they don't have access to, you can say, bigger market or earnings, then it is financial sustainability which also becomes important. And what product you get for your business is basically a product which you are trying to get from, which is more useful in Scandinavian conditions, means realizing the natural requirements there, which people are, we were saying earlier, we're going more for plastic or other fabric and all those things which are maybe degrading the environment. So in
Mhm.
both these senses, again, that your bridge philosophy worked here again, can you tell a bit about it?
The sustainability part is also the heart of this thing, because it is not possible to involve the artisans without thinking that it should be done in a new way, considering environment, society, and the business in itself. But we believe that in terms of the business, we have to create a wealth that will be nicely distributed and honor the source,
Hmm.
because we are used to exploit the resources. And in this case, the resource is, or main resource is the alpaca
Hmm.
with their thread. It grows in the Andes. And if we just take it and add value to it outside its own environment, it's almost like a stealing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what we want is to use the alpaca from there, add as much value as possible
Hmm.
to not to have a commodity, but to have a product. And there we will be creating a nice production and wealth over there, and impacting the communities that we work with. And sustainability, mm, by the definition of the United Nations with the Sustainable Development Goals, includes more than just the, at one time we were thinking just the environment. At one point we were also thinking of just the society, but it's everything.
Correct.
The interesting issue is that depending on which culture or society we are, the focus is different. I think in India and in Latin America, we have a big focus for social issues.
Hmm.
There is also a big focus on environment, but still we feel like the environment has to take care of us humans, because we need it so much.
I think
And
you said
sure,
somewhere already that respect the resources,
yes,
you know, from where it originates. So I think that's
yes,
that I think defines literally everything. That if you respect the origin of a particular thing, that means you are helping environment also. Like there were a lot of news items during this Corona lockdown period that how nature has revived in a lot of areas. like greenery has returned and the birds have come back and water is cleaner and all that. So I think
Yes,
it is also a message somewhere that if you respect your resources, maybe then it will give you more opportunity.
yes,
So I think that's a
absolutely.
wonderful idea and very well said, basically. Now, as far as I know, you last maybe 10 years or so, 10, 11, 12 years, whatever. You are not going to sit with, Imarit is one of the venture and photography is another one. So what Mayra next?
Um, I would like to see the idea of including artisans in the chain to grow,
Hmm.
into participating more into the uh, market in general. I
Hmm.
think that we long for this type of products,
Hmm.
but we don't know where to get them.
Hmm.
And not everybody is driven by price.
Hmm.
Not everybody wants to buy something just because covers the initial need.
Hmm.
Fashion is terrible in this because it's an industry that actually uh, almost makes people addicted to consuming.
Hmm. Hmm.
So to get away from that, I think we need products with story, products that bring values as well, and that through their consumption, we are preserving some heritage, some communities
Correct.
from disappearing.
One very important thing which I noticed on your Instagram pages of Imarit, like you rightly said, that fashion is like addiction. So a lot of advertisements of related to any fashion, they use women basically a lot as to depict them, and then depict them sometimes it doesn't look good even to the eyes. But I have seen that your advertisement, you have tried to portray in very different way the women, the way it is normally seen in ad industry. It is totally opposite to it. So is there any concept behind it? You have put some concept that how you will portray your products and how you will use the models and something, because it was quite different than fashion industry the way they use.
Yes, or women, the Imarit woman is a person that respects environment, that feels that connection and respect for all things natural and the things that will also create a well-being. And that also means their own way of acting with others, to have empathy. And because of empathy, they are buying this or this type of
Very
products.
important. Yeah, I think empathy is one of the value or aspect which is getting lost in all the development talks. But I think
Yes,
it's a very right way of using that. That yes, the first thing is empathy to buy a product. Then entire chain follows sustainability.
yes,
Till yeah, that's great.
yes,
Good.
yes. So portraying this woman is not about how sexy she looks, how aligned exclusively with one ethnic physiognomy the person is. It's also about inclusion. And our models are from different ethnicities,
Hmm.
backgrounds, sizes. That's very important also for us because beauty that we want to create in every woman wearing an Imarit piece, it should come from within. The piece is there to support the woman, to make her feel good in terms of the softness, the look, uh, but it's this empowerment, this self-esteem, empower and or boost that the piece will give, that will make this person a better person.
I think this is a great lesson for people who are into the showbiz to hear from Mayra that how you should see a woman, and the way they should portray themselves, and then if they are not them, but the way people use them to portray something could also be refined to a thought process. That's great. Now maybe towards the last questions. Mayra, individual, wife, mother. I have seen you worried about those kids sometimes, during discussions earlier, and now maybe as a grandmother. So how you switch
How,
the roles?
how am I in life? Well, I'm enjoying this phase of in life when I'm paying attention to what it is going on, and the other side of the ocean with my granddaughter, and how this lockdown has improved, the connectivity with a 3 years old girl that can stay long in the video conference and or the video call and show me what she's doing, show me how much she likes pink. I hate pink. And show me, so many different things. It's an important phase because when we worry about kids, I think that we share lots of talks, where our kids are going and what can we do to encourage them to follow their path. We were educators. We were taking care of all these issues, and still we needed to correct. We needed to insist. See what my father did with me and created an incredible cows for many years because I really stepped outside his protection to be able to follow what I wanted.
Correct.
But with grandchildren, that's different. Um, I can do so many things with her and still tell her mom, take care of her. You're the one who's responsible for teaching her, for educating her, for correcting her, whatever. I'm just here to enjoy. So, and probably inspire. I hope that my granddaughter one day she would say, "Oh, it was so cool to be with my grandmother." I don't know what's going to be the expression here, but I don't think that I take it so lightly,
Correct.
even though I would like to have an easy going relationship with my granddaughter because I want to be there for her. And my kids also, the maturing in life makes them closer to me, understanding as much as I had to with my father, understanding life challenges and learning. So it's a very interesting thing,
Now,
how
one, yeah,
to do.
one small question. How many languages you juggle with?
English is besides Spanish the one that it's more practice. Then comes Portuguese, which is very close to Spanish. I
Correct.
had to learn it because my kids, they were admitted in the language school of Portuguese, but they needed the mom because the kids were too young to join the school. Then it's German, not so well practiced. And then a little bit of Danish, and I can always ask "Aap kaise hai?" "Tanda pani," and things like those. Nimbu pani. That was so important.
Great. So, Mara, it was really good to talk to you and find out, to explore the other side of your personality. And within your discussions, you subtly but very firmly give very right messages, not only for women but men equally, to grow in their life and thought process. The way you talked about resources, sustainability, and respect, and connectivity with the things what you want to do. It's great. But as you talked about equal opportunity, so I don't know whether you have any question to ask me, maybe.
When you raised your daughter, Did you think that you gave her same opportunities as you did with your son?
I think, yeah, because maybe yes, initial days maybe we were overprotective about her, but then later on, she grew up in confidence, and it gave us confidence, definitely.
Okay.
And yeah, and today now when she's in Canada and she's working there in Toronto, basically, and she's like not like your granddaughter. She is very pissed off with situation of lockdown for last 1.5 year. She's working from home, so she's not very happy. But then yes, in that term, yes, and
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe 1920 means like son probably was but more freedom and daughter was less. But now we also mature with time, right? So maybe we matured with her, and then maybe yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Because I think that one of the things that encourage any woman is in those initial stages in life, growing up in a family, to have same considerations, and fathers and mothers, definitely mothers. We have a big responsibility on that. Of course, in this, how the other question will be, how are you involving your children in your own initiative? Is it that you want them to participate in them, or do you want them to start their own and look for their own experiences?
yeah. See, like you know very well that my kids went for studies to US and Canada much young, when they were just maybe around 17, 18. So that way they are already independent and they are making their own career. So
Mhm.
yeah, the door is open for them whenever they want to come and join enhance the business. I won't say join the business, but enhance the business. But then as of now, we want them to explore the world, understand their own way of doing. And tomorrow, you don't know, they may tell us that you come over there. So maybe yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay.
good. So I think
That's
it
good.
was great talking to you, Mayra. One maybe last sentence, maybe you can drive, especially for the younger women, particularly because it's very important to say women here, because the younger women, how they should develop themselves, and how they should take their career challenges. Maybe if you can just summarize briefly.
Taking risks.
Great.
That's. I think that we have to be, I would not say immune, but to have a more risk-taking practices, to
Hmm.
know that, yeah, it can be wrong. So what? I will step back into what I was doing or do something, but there is always a solution.
Great. Great, Mara. It was pleasure connecting with you. Nice
Thank
talking to
you.
you. Wish you all
Thank
the best. Look forward that post-corona, maybe you visit us sometime or we visit you there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
And
would
then
love to.
wish you all the best to your, the business, what you started and what you are trying to, make involvement of artisans further into your business. So all
Thank
the
you.
best to you. And
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.
Same to you and
Namaste.
all your team.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Thank you.